Across the windswept moors of Scotland, ancient stones stand in perfect circles, their shadows marking time as they have for thousands of years. Half a world away, on a remote Pacific island, massive statues gaze eternally toward the horizon, their backs turned to secrets we've barely begun to uncover. In the high Andes, impossibly precise blocks fit together without mortar, their surfaces smooth as glass, their angles sharp as laser cuts. And in Turkey, beneath layers of earth and centuries of forgetting, pillars carved by people who supposedly knew nothing of architecture rise from the darkness like prayers made manifest in stone. These monuments share no common culture, no shared language, no documented contact across the vast oceans that separate them. Yet they speak in unison, whispering the same impossible truths. They were built with technologies we cannot explain, moved by methods we cannot replicate, and aligned with astronomical precision we can barely achieve today. The orthodox explanation dismisses these similarities as coincidence, as parallel evolution, as the inevitable result of human ingenuity working independently toward the same solutions. But when you stand before these titans of prehistory, when you trace your fingers along joints so tight that not even a blade of grass could slip between them, coincidence begins to feel like willful blindness. More than 35,000 megalithic structures have been cataloged across Europe alone. That number represents only what we have discovered, only what has survived the relentless erosion of time and the equally relentless advance of modern development. How many more lie buried beneath our cities, our farms, our forgotten corners of the earth? Each discovery rewrites our understanding of the past, pushing back the boundaries of what we believed possible, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable possibility that our ancestors were far more sophisticated than we ever dared imagine. The word megalith itself feels inadequate, a clinical term for something that transcends mere construction. These are not simply large stones arranged by primitive hands. They are puzzles written in granite and limestone, mathematical equations carved into bedrock, astronomical computers programmed to track the dance of celestial bodies across millennia. They challenge everything we think we know about the progression of human civilization, about the slow march from crude tools to refined technology. What if that march was not a straight line but a circle? What if we are not the first to reach such heights, but merely the latest to climb toward wisdom that was once commonplace? The implications stretch far beyond archaeology, beyond the comfortable boundaries of academic debate. If these structures were built using technologies we do not possess, techniques we cannot understand, then we must ask ourselves what else our ancestors knew that we have forgotten. Were they working with lost sciences, vanished knowledge systems that could manipulate matter and energy in ways that seem magical to our modern eyes? Or were they the inheritors of something even older, the remnants of a civilization so advanced that its echoes still ripple through time, manifesting in monuments that refuse to surrender their secrets? Consider the precision that appears again and again across these ancient sites. At Pumapunku in Bolivia, red sandstone blocks are cut with tolerances that would challenge modern machining. The edges are so straight they could have been drawn with rulers, the angles so perfect they seem to mock our assumptions about Bronze Age capabilities. Not even a razor blade can slide between the joints where these massive stones meet. The holes drilled through the hardest granite show the spiral markings of rotary tools. Yet we are told these people possessed only copper chisels and stone hammers. The same impossible precision appears at Sacsayhuaman in Peru, where polygonal blocks weighing hundreds of tons fit together like pieces of a three-dimensional puzzle. Each stone is unique, its surfaces curved and angled to match its neighbors with mathematical perfection. Modern engineers studying these walls admit they could not recreate such work today, not with all the advantages of computer modeling and diamond-tipped cutting tools. Yet somehow, people working with supposedly primitive technology achieved what we cannot. This is not the work of patient craftsmen slowly pecking away at stone with hammers. This is the signature of advanced manufacturing, of tools and techniques that could shape the hardest materials with surgical precision. But where are these tools? Where is the evidence of the workshops, the quarries, the infrastructure that such massive undertakings would require? The archaeological record falls silent, offering us only the results without revealing the methods. Even more puzzling is the transportation of these megaliths. At Stonehenge, 4-ton bluestones were somehow moved across 200 miles of rough terrain, from the quarries of Wales to the plains of southern England. The logistics alone stagger the imagination. How do you move such masses across rivers, up hills, through forests? Modern experiments have attempted to recreate these journeys using period-appropriate tools and methods. The results are instructive. Teams of hundreds struggle to move even scaled-down replicas over short distances under ideal conditions. Yet our ancestors allegedly accomplished far greater feats with ease, leaving no trace of the massive infrastructure such operations would require. The mystery deepens when we examine sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, where pillars weighing 50 tons were quarried, transported, and erected by people who had not yet invented pottery or domesticated animals. This temple complex predates agriculture itself, challenging our most fundamental assumptions about the development of human society. We are told that civilization began with farming, that only after learning to grow crops and live in permanent settlements did humans develop the social organization necessary for monumental architecture. Yet here stands proof that the sequence was reversed, that sophisticated construction came first, laying the foundation for everything that followed. The builders of Göbekli Tepe possessed knowledge that seems impossible for their supposed place in history. They understood geometry well enough to lay out their enclosures according to precise mathematical relationships. They knew how to work with stone in ways that produced surfaces as smooth as polished marble. They could carve intricate reliefs depicting animals and symbols with an artistry that rivals the best work of later civilizations. All of this they accomplished 11,000 years ago, at a time when humans were allegedly just beginning to experiment with primitive farming. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of these global megaliths is not their individual mysteries, but their connections. The same construction techniques appear at sites separated by thousands of miles and supposedly thousands of years. The same astronomical alignments repeat across cultures that had no known contact with each other. The same symbolic motifs emerge from Egypt to Easter Island, from Ireland to India, as if carved by hands guided by the same invisible blueprint. Take the phenomenon of precision stonework that appears worldwide. In Egypt, the granite boxes of the Serapeum are carved to tolerances measured in fractions of millimeters. In Japan, the megalithic walls of ancient temples show the same impossible accuracy. In Peru, in Bolivia, in Lebanon, the pattern repeats. Massive stones cut and fitted with surgical precision, using techniques that remain mysterious even today. Either dozens of separate civilizations independently developed the same advanced technologies, or they shared a common source of knowledge, a lost science that once spanned the globe. The electromagnetic properties of these structures add another layer to the mystery. Many megaliths are constructed from stones rich in quartz, a mineral that generates electricity when subjected to pressure or vibration. The placement of these monuments often corresponds to areas of geological activity, natural fracture zones where the earth itself is in constant motion. Were the ancient builders aware of these properties? Did they deliberately choose sites and materials that would interact with natural forces in ways we are only beginning to understand? Recent research has revealed that megalithic sites often exhibit unusual electromagnetic signatures. Measurements taken at stone circles show fluctuations in magnetic fields, variations in electrical conductivity, anomalies that suggest these monuments were designed to interact with energies we can detect but barely comprehend. The precision of their astronomical alignments implies knowledge not just of the night sky, but of the deeper rhythms that govern planetary motion. The slow dance of precession that takes 26,000 years to complete a single cycle. This suggests a level of scientific sophistication that challenges every assumption about prehistoric capabilities. To track precessional cycles, ancient astronomers would need to maintain accurate observations across hundreds of generations. They would need mathematical systems capable of predicting celestial events thousands of years in advance. They would need social institutions stable enough to preserve and transmit knowledge across vast spans of time. In short, they would need civilization of a type and complexity that orthodox archaeology insists did not exist. Yet the evidence carved in stone tells a different story. These monuments are not the crude first attempts of emerging societies learning to work with large stones. They represent the perfected techniques of accomplished engineers, the refined aesthetics of mature artistic traditions, the sophisticated calculations of advanced mathematicians. They speak of knowledge systems so complete, so elegant in their application, that we struggle to understand how they could have emerged from the primitive conditions we imagine characterize the ancient world. The global distribution of these techniques suggests something even more provocative. Perhaps we are not looking at the independent achievements of separate civilizations, but at the scattered remnants of a single worldwide culture. A civilization so ancient that its memory has faded into myth, so advanced that its technologies seem impossible to our modern understanding, so widespread that its influence touched every corner of the inhabited world before some great catastrophe erased it from the pages of history. The evidence for such a catastrophe exists in the geological record, in layers of sediment that speak of global flooding, in impact signatures that suggest cosmic collision, in climate data that reveals sudden shifts capable of ending civilizations overnight. Around 12,000 years ago, something happened to our planet, something that reset the conditions for human society and forced the survivors to begin again from fragments of what came before. If such a lost civilization existed, its greatest achievements would have been built to last, constructed with materials and methods designed to survive whatever calamities might come. The global megaliths, with their impossible precision and mysterious technologies, may be the calling cards of this vanished world. Messages in stone from ancestors whose true capabilities we have only begun to glimpse. The patterns become impossible to ignore when you map them across continents. In the mountains of Peru, at a site called Ollantaytambo, massive granite blocks weighing over 100 tons rest perfectly fitted against bedrock walls. The surfaces where they meet show no gaps, no irregularities, as if the stone had been poured into place like concrete rather than carved and positioned. The same phenomenon appears in Egypt at the Valley Temple near the Sphinx, where limestone blocks the size of buses are arranged with joints so precise that engineers joke about needing microscopes to find the seams. Travel to Easter Island, and the mystery multiplies. Beyond the famous Moai statues lies a lesser-known structure called the Wall at Vinapu, built from polygonal blocks that mirror the construction techniques found thousands of miles away in South America. The resemblance is so striking that early investigators wondered if the same builders had worked on both sites, despite the vast ocean separating them. The precision is identical, the methods indistinguishable, the results equally impossible to explain, using conventional archaeological timelines. These similarities extend beyond mere construction techniques into the realm of sacred geometry and astronomical knowledge. At Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the temple complex is laid out according to mathematical proportions that encode the cycles of cosmic time. The same proportional relationships appear at Teotihuacan in Mexico, where the Avenue of the Dead aligns with celestial coordinates and the pyramid structures mirror the orbital periods of planets. Neither civilization supposedly had contact with the other, yet both embedded identical cosmological knowledge into their monuments with precision that rivals modern astronomical calculations. The builders of these ancient sites possess surveying capabilities that seem impossible for their alleged technological level. At Nazca in Peru, the famous lines stretch across the desert with geometric accuracy that remains unmatched today. Some of these lines run perfectly straight for over 30 miles, deviating less than 9 feet from true over their entire length. Creating such precision requires instruments capable of maintaining bearing across vast distances, accounting for the curvature of the Earth and correcting for variations in terrain. Modern surveyors struggle to achieve such accuracy even with satellite guidance and laser measurement tools. But the Nazca lines represent only one aspect of a global phenomenon. Similar geoglyphs appear in other desert regions around the world, from the Atacama in Chile to the Gobi in Mongolia. Each site displays the same impossible precision, the same mastery over vast distances, the same ability to create perfectly straight lines and geometric forms across landscapes that would challenge modern engineering teams. The consistency suggests not parallel invention, but shared knowledge, techniques passed down from a common source that understood principles of measurement and construction we have yet to rediscover. The acoustic properties of megalithic sites add another dimension to the mystery. At Newgrange in Ireland, the passage tomb is designed to amplify and focus sound waves in ways that transform whispers into clear speech, audible throughout the chamber. The same acoustic engineering appears at Chavín de Huántar in Peru, where underground galleries channel and manipulate sound to create effects that seem supernatural to the uninitiated. These are not accidental properties, but deliberate design features that required sophisticated understanding of wave mechanics and architectural acoustics. Recent experiments at megalithic sites have revealed that many of these structures exhibit resonant frequencies that correspond to human brainwave patterns. At certain sonic frequencies, the stone chambers produce standing waves that can induce altered states of consciousness in people within them. Whether this effect was intentional or accidental remains debatable, but the consistency across sites suggests that ancient builders possessed knowledge of how sound and frequency could influence human perception and perhaps even consciousness itself. The metallurgical evidence presents equally puzzling questions. At Puma Punku, archaeologists have discovered metal clamps used to join the massive stone blocks. Analysis reveals these clamps are composed of an unusual bronze alloy containing precise percentages of copper, arsenic, and other metals that create properties superior to modern bronze. The same alloy composition appears at megalithic sites across the Mediterranean, from Delphi in Greece to temples in Egypt, suggesting standardized metallurgical knowledge that spanned continents. Even more intriguing are the traces of advanced metalworking found at sites that supposedly predate the Bronze Age. At Göbekli Tepe, microscopic analysis of tool marks on the stone pillars reveals cutting patterns consistent with metal implements, not the stone tools that archaeologists insist were the only technology available to the builders. The precision of the carving, the smoothness of the surfaces, the intricate details of the relief sculptures, all point to the use of sophisticated cutting implements that leave no trace in the archaeological record. This absence of tools presents one of the greatest mysteries surrounding megalithic construction. If these sites required advanced technologies to build, where are the workshops, the foundries, the quarries that would have supported such massive undertakings? Where are the tool marks in the stone that would reveal the methods used? The silence is deafening, as if the builders deliberately erased all evidence of their techniques, leaving only the results to puzzle future generations. Some researchers have proposed that the missing technology might not have been mechanical, but energetic, based on principles of physics we have yet to understand or rediscover. Ancient texts from various cultures describe methods of moving massive stones using sound, vibration, or other forces that seem fantastical to modern science. Yet recent experiments with acoustic levitation have demonstrated that sound waves can indeed manipulate matter in ways that might explain some of the construction mysteries surrounding megalithic sites. The global distribution of specific architectural features suggests communication networks that spanned oceans and continents. The Corbelled Arch appears at Mycenae in Greece and at Tiryns, but also at sites in Ireland, Scotland, and even in the Americas. The technique involves laying stones in overlapping courses that gradually meet to form an arch without a keystone, a method that requires precise calculation and understanding of structural forces. The consistency of this technique across widely separated cultures implies either direct contact or inheritance from a common architectural tradition. Megalithic sites also share symbolic languages that transcend cultural boundaries. The spiral motif appears carved into stones from Ireland to New Zealand, from Malta to Easter Island. These are not simple decorative elements, but complex geometric forms that encode mathematical relationships and astronomical data. The spirals often correspond to planetary cycles, lunar phases, or the precession of the equinoxes, suggesting that ancient peoples possessed unified systems for recording and transmitting cosmic knowledge. The precision with which these sites are oriented toward celestial events reveals astronomical knowledge that challenges conventional timelines for the development of science. Many megalithic monuments are aligned not just to obvious events like solstices and equinoxes, but to subtle phenomena like the 18-year lunar standstill cycle or the precession of specific star groups over thousands of years. Tracking such long-term cycles requires institutional memory spanning dozens of generations and mathematical systems capable of predicting complex celestial mechanics. At Nabta Playa in Egypt, stone circles dating back over 7,000 years are aligned with the heliacal rising of stars that were significant markers in the ancient night sky. The precision of these alignments suggests the builders possessed star catalogs and calendrical systems of remarkable sophistication. Similar astronomical alignments appear at sites across Africa, Europe, and the Americas, all demonstrating knowledge of celestial mechanics that supposedly developed much later in human history. The implications extend beyond individual sites to encompass entire landscapes. In Britain, megalithic monuments are positioned according to geometric relationships that span hundreds of miles. Lines connecting various stone circles and burial chambers form perfect triangles with sides that maintain consistent proportional relationships across vast distances. The same phenomenon appears in other regions, suggesting that ancient peoples conceived of their sacred sites not as isolated monuments but as components of integrated systems designed according to unified principles. Modern satellite imagery has revealed similar patterns in other parts of the world, from the alignment of temples across India to the geometric relationships between pyramid sites in Central America. These discoveries suggest that megalithic builders possessed mapping capabilities and surveying techniques that allowed them to coordinate construction projects across continental scales. Such coordination would require not only advanced technical knowledge, but also sophisticated organizational systems capable of managing resources and labor across vast territories. The persistence of these patterns across time and space points towards something more profound than mere coincidence or parallel evolution. The megalithic builders, regardless of when or where they lived, seem to have shared access to knowledge systems that transcended the boundaries of individual cultures or civilizations. Whether this knowledge was transmitted through direct contact, inherited from a common ancestral source, or rediscovered independently remains one of the great puzzles of human prehistory. The deeper we probe into these ancient mysteries, the more the conventional narrative begins to unravel. Each new discovery chips away at the comfortable assumptions that have guided archaeological thinking for over a century. The evidence accumulates like sediment, layer upon layer of anomalies that refuse to fit into the neat chronologies we have constructed to explain human development. Yet instead of embracing these revelations, mainstream academia often responds with the intellectual equivalent of fingers pressed firmly into ears, dismissing inconvenient facts as misinterpretation or fraud. At Baalbek in Lebanon, the mystery reaches almost absurd proportions. The foundation of the Roman temple complex rests upon stones so massive they dwarf even the impressive blocks used in the visible structures above. The trilithon, 3 limestone blocks weighing over 800 tons each, forms part of a retaining wall that predates Roman construction by unknown centuries. These are not merely large stones, but geological monuments, each one equivalent in weight to 3 Boeing 747 aircraft fully loaded with passengers and fuel. Moving such masses would challenge modern heavy lifting equipment, yet they were positioned with precision that leaves no room for error. Even more perplexing is the unfinished block still in the nearby quarry, a monolith that would have weighed over 1,000 tons when completed. The stone of the pregnant woman, as local tradition calls it, lies partially carved from the bedrock, its surfaces showing the same mysterious tool marks that appear at megalithic sites worldwide. The cutting patterns suggest techniques that could remove vast quantities of stone with efficiency that surpasses modern quarrying methods, leaving surfaces so smooth they reflect light like mirrors. The Roman historians who wrote about Baalbek attributed the massive foundation stones to an earlier civilization they called the race of giants. Flavius Josephus described these ancient builders as possessing bodies of enormous size and faces so different from ordinary humans that seeing them was amazing to the mind and terrifying to the eyes. While such descriptions might seem like mythological embellishment, they appear in historical accounts from cultures across the globe, all describing the same phenomenon of enormous beings who built the great stone monuments before vanishing from the earth. In Peru, local legends speak of the Viracocha, godlike figures who appeared after a great flood and taught the ancestors how to work with stone. These beings were described as tall, fair-skinned, and possessed of knowledge that allowed them to cut and move massive blocks as if they were made of clay rather than solid granite. Similar stories emerge from Easter Island, where the Rongorongo tablets speak of the Long Ears, an ancient race that preceded the Polynesian inhabitants and left behind the massive Moai statues before disappearing in a great catastrophe. The Dogon people of West Africa preserve oral traditions describing amphibious beings called the Nomo, who emerged from the waters to establish civilization along the Niger River. These teachers brought knowledge of astronomy that modern science has only recently confirmed, including detailed information about the Sirius star system that cannot be observed without powerful telescopes. The Dogon describes stellar companions and orbital periods that match current astronomical data with uncanny precision, suggesting access to observational capabilities that should not have existed in ancient times. Such accounts appear in virtually every ancient culture, from the Anunnaki of Mesopotamian texts to the Neteru of Egyptian mythology. While mainstream scholarship dismisses these stories as primitive attempts to explain natural phenomena, the consistency of the details across unconnected cultures suggests they may preserve memories of actual historical events. The builders of the megalithic monuments, these accounts seem to say, were not ordinary humans working with primitive tools, but representatives of a sophisticated civilization whose capabilities far exceeded those of later peoples. The astronomical alignments of megalithic sites become even more significant when viewed through this lens. At Newgrange in Ireland, the passage tomb is oriented so precisely toward the winter solstice sunrise that light penetrates the chamber for exactly 17 minutes on the shortest day of the year. This alignment has remained accurate for over 5,000 years, despite the gradual shift in Earth's axial tilt that affects all astronomical observations over such time spans. Maintaining this precision would require not only sophisticated initial surveying, but also periodic adjustments to account for precessional drift. The same phenomenon appears at sites worldwide. At Angkor Wat, the temple complex mirrors the constellation Draco as it appeared in the sky around 10,500 BCE, not during the period when the visible structures were supposedly built. The builders encoded into stone a snapshot of the heavens from an epoch that predates known Khmer civilization by thousands of years. Either they possessed historical, astronomical records of impossible antiquity, or the site itself is far older than conventional dating suggests. At Chichen Itza in Mexico, the Pyramid of Kukulkan demonstrates astronomical knowledge that transcends mere seasonal observation. The structure contains 365 steps, corresponding to the solar year, but also encodes the cycles of Venus, Mars, and the Moon with mathematical precision. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, shadows cast by the stepped pyramid create the illusion of a serpent descending the northern staircase, a phenomenon that requires perfect understanding of solar geometry and architectural acoustics. The crowds that gather to witness this event rarely consider the sophisticated calculations necessary to achieve such effects. The acoustic properties of megalithic sites reveal another layer of advanced knowledge. At Chichen Itza, clapping hands in front of the pyramid produces an echo that mimics the call of the Quetzal bird, a creature sacred to Maya cosmology. This is not coincidence, but deliberate acoustic engineering that required understanding of wave mechanics and sound reflection. The same principles appear at sites across the globe, from the whispering galleries of ancient temples to the resonant chambers of passage tombs. Modern acoustic analysis has revealed that many megalithic structures were designed to amplify specific frequencies that correspond to altered states of consciousness. At Malta's Hypogeum, an underground temple complex carved from solid limestone, certain chambers resonate at frequencies that affect human brain activity. Recordings made within these spaces show that the human voice, when properly modulated, can create standing waves that persist for several seconds after the sound source stops. The ancients may have used these acoustic properties to induce trance states, facilitate healing, or enhance group meditation practices. The precision required to create such acoustic effects demands understanding of mathematics and physics that supposedly did not exist when these sites were built. Calculating the dimensions necessary to produce specific resonant frequencies requires knowledge of wavelength relationships, harmonic ratios, and the acoustic properties of different materials. Yet the builders achieved these effects using only hand tools and techniques that archaeologists struggle to explain using conventional models of technological development. The electromagnetic signatures of megalithic sites add yet another dimension to the mystery. Many stone circles and temple complexes are built from materials rich in quartz and other piezoelectric minerals that generate electrical charges when subjected to mechanical stress. The constant micro-movements caused by wind, temperature changes, and seismic activity would keep these structures in a state of subtle electrical activity. Whether the ancient builders were aware of these properties remains uncertain, but the consistent selection of such materials across widely separated sites suggests intentional choice rather than random selection. Recent measurements at Avebury in England have detected fluctuations in electromagnetic fields that correspond to astronomical events, with the strongest readings occurring during solstices and equinoxes. The stone circles seem to act as natural resonators, amplifying and focusing terrestrial energies in ways that create measurable effects on sensitive instruments. Some researchers have proposed that these monuments were designed as prehistoric energy collection systems, though the purpose of such collection remains speculative. The placement of megalithic sites often corresponds to geological features that would enhance these electromagnetic properties. Many stone circles are positioned over underground watercourses or at the intersection of fault lines where tectonic stress creates natural electrical phenomena. The builders seem to possess sophisticated understanding of earth energies and how to harness or amplify them through careful selection of materials and precise architectural arrangements. In China, the practice of feng shui preserves ancient knowledge about the flow of terrestrial energies, and how architectural placement can influence these forces. Similar concepts appear in the sacred geography of other cultures, from the ley lines of Britain to the dragon paths of Aboriginal Australia. These traditions suggest that megalithic builders possess systematic knowledge about energy flows within the earth and design their monuments to interact with these forces in specific ways. The global distribution of this knowledge implies communication networks or shared cultural inheritance that orthodox archaeology cannot easily explain. How did peoples separated by vast oceans and supposedly isolated cultures develop identical understanding of electromagnetic phenomena, acoustic engineering, and astronomical mechanics? Either human civilization developed along remarkably parallel lines despite geographic isolation, or there existed in antiquity systems of knowledge transmission that we have yet to recognize or understand. The mystery deepens when we examine the sudden appearance and equally sudden disappearance of megalithic construction techniques at various sites around the world. At Easter Island, the most sophisticated Moai statues were carved during a relatively brief period before the technology apparently vanished, leaving later attempts crude and unfinished by comparison. The same pattern appears elsewhere, suggesting that the knowledge required for advanced megalithic construction was not gradually developed, but inherited complete from earlier sources, then lost again when those sources were no longer available. The implications challenge everything we think we know about the development of human civilization. Instead of steady progress from primitive to sophisticated, the evidence suggests cycles of advancement and decline, with periods of high technology followed by dark ages of forgetting. The megalithic monuments may represent the peaks of these cycles, moments when human society achieved capabilities that were subsequently lost and only partially recovered by later civilizations. This cyclical model of history appears in the traditional accounts of many ancient cultures. The Hindu concept of yugas describes repeating ages of rise and decline, with each cycle bringing both advancement and eventual catastrophe. The Maya calendar encoded similar concepts of recurring time periods, each ending in transformation or renewal. Even Greek philosophy preserved ideas about golden ages, followed by periods of decline and forgetting, suggesting that such cyclical thinking was once widespread among ancient peoples. The geological record supports the possibility of periodic catastrophes capable of ending civilizations and forcing survivors to begin again from ruins. Ice core data reveals sudden climate shifts that occurred with devastating speed, transforming fertile regions into wastelands within decades. Impact craters and meteor fragments suggest cosmic collisions that would have triggered global environmental collapse. Flood deposits in numerous locations indicate sudden inundations that could have drowned coastal civilizations beneath hundreds of feet of water. If such catastrophes have occurred repeatedly throughout human history, then the survivors would face the challenge of preserving essential knowledge while rebuilding from scattered fragments. The megalithic monuments, with their encoded astronomical data and sophisticated construction techniques, may represent attempts by ancient peoples to create permanent records that could survive whatever disasters might come. Built from the most durable materials available and designed according to mathematical principles that would remain valid across millennia, these structures could serve as libraries for future civilizations struggling to rediscover lost wisdom. The precision and durability of megalithic construction takes on new significance when viewed as information storage systems rather than mere monuments or temples. The astronomical alignments encode calendrical data, the mathematical proportions preserve geometric principles, and the acoustic properties demonstrate advanced understanding of wave mechanics. Together, these features create comprehensive records of scientific knowledge embedded in stone, designed to survive the collapse of the civilizations that created them. But if the megaliths were built as repositories of ancient wisdom, then we must ask ourselves what other knowledge they might contain. What secrets remain locked within their geometric relationships, their material compositions, their precise orientations towards celestial events. Modern science has barely begun to decode the information these monuments preserve, and each new discovery reveals layers of sophistication that seem impossible for their supposed age and cultural context. The questions multiply faster than the answers. Who possessed the knowledge necessary to plan and execute such monumental projects? What technologies did they use to achieve precision that challenges modern engineering capabilities? How did they coordinate construction activities across vast distances and diverse geographic regions? And perhaps most importantly, what happened to cause such advanced civilizations to vanish so completely that only their stone monuments remain to mark their passing? The answers may lie not in what we can see, but in what has been deliberately hidden from view. Beneath the surface of our modern world, a different story unfolds in layers of sediment and stone. Recent advances in ground-penetrating radar and satellite imaging have begun to reveal the true scope of ancient construction projects, showing that many megalithic sites extend far deeper underground than previously imagined. What we see above ground may represent only the visible peaks of vast subterranean complexes that dwarf our current understanding of prehistoric capabilities. At Göbekli Tepe, magnetometer surveys have detected dozens of additional stone circles buried beneath accumulated soil and debris. These hidden structures appear to follow the same geometric patterns as the excavated enclosures, suggesting that the visible temple complex represents perhaps 5% of the original site. The implications are staggering. If the exposed pillars required the coordinated efforts of hundreds of workers, what kind of civilization would have been necessary to complete the entire complex? The labor force alone would have required social organization on a scale that supposedly did not exist among hunter-gatherer populations. Similar discoveries emerge from sites across the globe. At Stonehenge, recent surveys have mapped an entire sacred landscape extending for miles in every direction, with cursus monuments, barrows, and timber circles creating a unified ceremonial complex that dwarfs the famous stone circle. The Durrington Walls Superhenge, located just 2 miles from Stonehenge, contains a timber circle that was larger than its stone counterpart, suggesting that the visible monuments represent only fragments of a much grander design. In Peru, LiDAR scanning through the forest canopy around Machu Picchu has revealed terraced mountainsides and stone structures extending far beyond the tourist areas. The precision of these hidden constructions matches that of the visible ruins, indicating that the Inca, or their predecessors, transformed entire mountain ranges according to unified architectural principles. The scale of modification suggests engineering projects that would challenge modern capabilities, yet they remain largely unexplored and undocumented. The pattern repeats at Easter Island, where recent excavations have revealed that the famous Moai statues have bodies extending deep underground. These buried portions contain additional carvings and details that completely change our understanding of the monuments. The statues we see today are merely the heads and shoulders of much larger figures, their full proportions hidden beneath centuries of accumulated soil. This discovery forces us to reconsider not only the size and complexity of the original sculptures, but also the timeline of their construction and subsequent burial. What caused these massive structures to become buried over time? Conventional explanations invoke gradual sedimentation and natural erosion, but the uniformity of burial depths across widely separated sites suggests more dramatic processes. Geological evidence points to periods of rapid environmental change when dust storms, flooding, or volcanic activity could have buried entire cities within decades. The survivors of such catastrophes would face the choice of excavating their buried monuments or abandoning them to build anew elsewhere. Ancient texts from various cultures describe exactly such scenarios. Sumerian tablets speak of the Abzu, underground chambers where the gods stored their knowledge before the Great Flood. Egyptian papyri describe hidden rooms beneath the pyramids where the wisdom of the ancestors was preserved against future catastrophes. Hindu scriptures mention vast underground cities where advanced civilizations took refuge during periods of cosmic destruction. While Orthodox scholarship treats these accounts as mythology, the discovery of actual underground complexes at megalithic sites suggests they may preserve memories of real events. The construction techniques revealed by these hidden structures challenge our assumptions about ancient capabilities even more dramatically than the visible monuments. Underground chambers carved from solid bedrock display the same impossible precision found in surface constructions, but with the added complexity of working in confined spaces without natural light. The logistics of removing tons of excavated material from deep underground chambers would require sophisticated planning and engineering that surpasses many modern construction projects. At the Serapeum of Saqqara in Egypt, underground galleries contain granite boxes carved from single blocks, weighing up to 100 tons each. The precision of these sarcophagi exceeds anything achieved by modern stone cutting, with surfaces flat to within thousandths of an inch and corners that meet at perfect right angles. The boxes were somehow maneuvered into position within narrow underground passages that would barely accommodate their dimensions, a feat that engineers today would consider impossible without dismantling the entire complex. The same precision appears in underground chambers at sites across the Mediterranean. At Antequera in Spain, dolmen chambers carved from megalithic stones display joint tolerances that modern stonemasons cannot replicate. The builders somehow fitted massive capstones weighing over 100 tons onto precisely positioned uprights, creating chambers that have remained stable for thousands of years despite earthquakes and geological settling. These underground complexes often display acoustic properties that suggest sophisticated understanding of sound engineering. At the hypogeum of Hal Saflieni in Malta, underground chambers carved from limestone create acoustic effects that modern sound engineers struggle to explain. Spoken words in certain areas are amplified and transmitted to distant chambers with perfect clarity, while other frequencies are completely absorbed. The builders created what amounts to an underground sound system using only hand tools and knowledge of wave mechanics that supposedly did not exist in prehistoric times. The electromagnetic properties of these buried structures add another layer of mystery. Many underground chambers are carved from stone with high quartz content, creating natural piezoelectric environments that generate electrical charges in response to mechanical stress. The constant micro movements of the earth would keep these chambers in a state of subtle electrical activity, creating effects that sensitive individuals might perceive as supernatural phenomena. Modern measurements at these sites have detected unusual electromagnetic signatures that fluctuate according to astronomical cycles. During certain celestial alignments, underground chambers show increased electrical activity that correlates with the positions of planets and stars. Whether ancient builders were aware of these properties remains uncertain, but the consistency of the effects across multiple sites suggests intentional design rather than accidental consequence. The global distribution of similar underground complexes implies coordination on a scale that challenges our understanding of ancient civilizations. In Turkey, the underground city of Derinkuyu extends 18 levels below ground and could shelter 20,000 people for extended periods. Similar complexes exist throughout Cappadocia, all displaying the same sophisticated ventilation systems, water management, and defensive features. The engineering required to create such facilities would demand detailed geological surveys, advanced excavation techniques, and organizational capabilities that rival modern civil engineering projects. In China, the Longyu Caves represent another example of precision underground construction that defies conventional explanation. These artificial caverns, carved from solid siltstone, display the same tool marks and finishing techniques found at megalithic sites worldwide. The chambers are supported by pillars and walls that maintain structural integrity despite removing thousands of tons of material. The uniformity of the excavation methods suggests standardized techniques and tools that left no trace in the archaeological record. The absence of construction debris at these sites presents one of the greatest puzzles surrounding ancient underground complexes. Excavating chambers of such size would generate enormous quantities of spoil material that would need to be transported and disposed of. Yet at site after site, archaeologists find no evidence of waste piles, quarry dumps, or the massive earthworks that such projects would require. The excavated material seems to have vanished as completely as the tools and techniques used to remove it. Some researchers have proposed that the missing material was used for surface construction projects, transported to distant locations, or processed into forms that do not survive in the archaeological record. Others suggest more exotic explanations involving technologies that could disintegrate or transform stone rather than simply cutting and removing it. Ancient texts from various cultures describe methods of working with stone that sound fantastical to modern ears, but might preserve memories of actual techniques that operated according to principles we have yet to understand. The precision of underground construction becomes even more remarkable when we consider the challenges of working without natural light. Modern excavation projects rely on powerful artificial illumination to maintain accuracy and safety. Yet the underground chambers at ancient sites show no trace of soot or smoke that would result from torch or lamp use. The walls and ceilings remain pristine, their surfaces unmarked by the combustion byproducts that should accumulate during extended construction periods. This absence of burning evidence appears at underground sites worldwide, from the passages beneath the Great Pyramid to the chambers of Newgrange. Either the builders possessed lighting technologies that produced no combustion byproducts, or they worked in complete darkness using methods that maintained precision through other means. Neither explanation fits comfortably within conventional models of ancient capabilities, yet the evidence demands acknowledgement of techniques that remain mysterious even today. The ventilation systems of ancient underground complexes display engineering sophistication that rivals modern HVAC design. At Derinkuyu, air shafts maintain circulation throughout 18 levels of tunnels and chambers, creating environments that could sustain large populations during extended sieges. The calculations required to design such systems would demand detailed understanding of airflow dynamics, pressure differentials, and the relationship between chamber volume and air exchange rates. Similar ventilation engineering appears at sites across the globe, suggesting shared knowledge of atmospheric management in underground environments. The builders understood how to create air currents that would prevent the accumulation of carbon dioxide, maintain comfortable temperatures, and provide fresh air to chambers located hundreds of feet below the surface. Such knowledge implies sophisticated understanding of physics and engineering that supposedly developed much later in human history. The water management systems of these underground complexes demonstrate equally advanced hydraulic engineering. Many sites include elaborate systems of channels, reservoirs, and drainage features that control groundwater flow and prevent flooding. At some locations, underground aqueducts transport water across considerable distances, maintaining precise gradients that ensure consistent flow without pumping mechanisms. The mathematical precision required for such hydraulic systems would challenge modern civil engineers. Calculating the proper slopes, volumes, and flow rates for underground water management requires detailed understanding of fluid dynamics and structural engineering. Yet ancient builders achieved these calculations using supposedly primitive tools and knowledge systems that left no written records for future generations to study. The discovery of these extensive underground networks forces us to reconsider the true scope and sophistication of ancient civilizations. What we see on the surface may represent only a small fraction of their actual achievements, with the majority of their construction projects hidden beneath accumulated sediments or deliberately concealed from later populations. The implications extend far beyond individual sites to encompass entire regions. where underground complexes might connect distant surface monuments into unified systems. Recent surveys using advanced ground-penetrating radar have detected linear anomalies that suggest tunnel networks extending between megalithic sites, separated by considerable distances. In Britain, electromagnetic surveys have mapped possible underground connections between stone circles and burial mounds, creating patterns that mirror the geometric relationships visible in their surface positions. If confirmed, such discoveries would reveal coordination of construction projects on a scale that would require centralized planning and resource management across entire regions. The technological requirements for creating extensive tunnel networks would far exceed those needed for surface construction. Underground excavation demands specialized techniques for dealing with groundwater, unstable soil conditions, and the structural challenges of maintaining open passages across long distances. The builders would need surveying methods capable of maintaining accurate bearings underground, construction techniques that could create stable tunnels without modern support materials, and organizational systems that could coordinate complex projects across vast geographic areas. Yet, evidence for such capabilities continues to accumulate at sites around the world. The underground complexes of ancient civilizations may represent their greatest achievements, monuments to engineering skill and organizational capability that dwarf the surface structures we have traditionally studied. These hidden networks suggest that our ancestors possessed knowledge and capabilities that we are only beginning to recognize, technologies and techniques that challenge everything we think we know about the development of human civilization. The questions raised by these discoveries extend beyond archaeology into the realms of physics, engineering, and consciousness itself. How did ancient peoples develop such sophisticated understanding of underground construction techniques? What tools and methods did they use to achieve precision that challenges modern capabilities? And perhaps most importantly, what knowledge did these civilizations possess that allowed them to coordinate massive construction projects across continents and centuries, creating networks of monuments that continue to reveal new mysteries with each passing year? The answers may require us to abandon comfortable assumptions about the past and embrace possibilities that stretch the boundaries of conventional thinking. The global megaliths, both visible and hidden, speak of human potential that far exceeds our current understanding, achievements that hint at capabilities we have perhaps forgotten rather than never possessed. As we continue to probe these ancient mysteries with ever more sophisticated tools and techniques, we may discover that our ancestors were not primitive peoples struggling with crude technologies, but inheritors of wisdom that we are only now beginning to rediscover. The electromagnetic signatures detected at these sites reveal patterns that extend far beyond individual monuments into networks that span entire continents. Recent magnetometer surveys across Europe have mapped corridors of magnetic anomalies that connect megalithic sites separated by hundreds of miles. These pathways follow underground geological features with remarkable consistency, suggesting that ancient builders possessed sophisticated understanding of terrestrial magnetism and its relationship to stone construction. At Carnac in Brittany, the famous stone alignments sit atop one of the most seismically active regions in France, where 31 geological fault lines intersect beneath the monuments. The constant micro-vibrations generated by tectonic movement keep the quartz-rich megaliths in a perpetual state of piezoelectric activity. Measurements taken during different seasons show that this electrical generation fluctuates according to astronomical cycles, with peak activity occurring during solstices and equinoxes when gravitational forces exert maximum stress on the fault system. The builders transported these particular stones from quarries 60 miles away, passing numerous closer sources of similar material. The selection criteria become clear when we examine the mineral composition of the chosen stones. Each menhir contains precise percentages of quartz, feldspar, and trace metals that create optimal conditions for electromagnetic resonance. This was not random selection but deliberate engineering, indicating knowledge of crystalline properties that modern science has only recently begun to understand. Similar patterns emerge at stone circles across Scotland and Ireland, where geological surveys reveal that each monument sits at the intersection of underground watercourses and mineral veins. The combination creates natural electrical conductivity that the megaliths seem designed to harness and amplify. During thunderstorms, these sites exhibit measurable increases in electromagnetic activity that correlate with the geometric arrangement of the stones, as if the circles were functioning as prehistoric lightning rods or energy collection systems. The precision of these placements cannot be coincidental. Locating the optimal positions would require surveying techniques capable of mapping subsurface geology across vast areas. Ancient builders would need instruments to detect magnetic field variations, underground water flow, and mineral deposits buried beneath layers of soil and rock. Yet no such instruments appear in the archaeological record, leaving us to wonder what technologies these peoples possessed that have left no trace for modern investigators to discover. At Avebury, the largest stone circle in Britain encompasses an area so vast that the entire village sits within its boundaries. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed that the visible stones represent only the uppermost layer of a complex underground structure. Beneath the chalk downs lie chambers, passages, and stone-lined shafts that extend down into the bedrock, creating a three-dimensional mandala that dwarfs the surface monument. The underground components align with the same astronomical events as the visible stones, suggesting that the entire complex was conceived as a unified instrument for tracking celestial cycles. The dating of these subsurface features presents another chronological puzzle. Radiocarbon analysis of organic materials found in the deepest chambers yields dates that predate the supposed construction of the surface circle by thousands of years. Either the site was built in phases over an impossibly long time span, or the underground components belong to an earlier civilization whose work was later incorporated into the visible monument. The precision of the alignment between surface and subsurface elements argues for unified construction, but the dating evidence suggests temporal gaps that challenge conventional archaeological, the Americas timelines. The same mysterious coordination appears on an even grander scale. The Nazca lines of Peru extend their geometric precision beyond the famous desert drawings into a network that encompasses the entire regional landscape. Satellite imagery reveals that the straight lines continue far beyond the plateau boundaries, connecting to mountain peaks, ancient settlements, and water sources across hundreds of miles of varied terrain. The builders somehow maintained perfect alignment across this vast geography, creating a unified system that treats the entire region as a single construction project. The engineering requirements for such coordination would challenge modern capabilities. Maintaining straight lines across mountainous terrain requires surveying techniques that can account for elevation changes, atmospheric refraction, and the curvature of the Earth. The ancient surveyors achieved accuracies that modern GPS systems struggle to match, creating lines that deviate less than 2 meters from perfect straightness over distances exceeding 50 kilometers. This level of precision demands not only sophisticated instruments, but also mathematical understanding of spherical geometry that supposedly developed much later in human history. The acoustic properties of these linear features add another dimension to their mystery. When researchers played low-frequency tones at various points along the Nazca lines, they discovered that certain frequencies propagate along the alignments with minimal loss, as if the lines were functioning as acoustic waveguides. The effect works both ways, with sounds generated at distant points arriving at listening stations with clarity that defies conventional understanding of sound transmission across open terrain. Similar acoustic phenomena appear at megalithic sites worldwide. At the stone rows of Karnak, whispers spoken at one end of an alignment can be heard clearly at terminals located over a mile away. The The stones seemed to channel and focus sound waves, creating communication networks that could transmit messages across considerable distances without intermediate relay points. Whether this effect was intentional or accidental remains unclear, but the consistency suggests deliberate acoustic engineering rather than fortunate coincidence. The mathematical relationships embedded in these acoustic systems reveal sophisticated understanding of wave mechanics and harmonic resonance. The spacing between stones in many alignments corresponds to wavelengths of specific frequencies, creating resonant cavities that amplify certain tones while suppressing others. The builders seem to have possessed detailed knowledge of how stone placement affects sound propagation, enabling them to create selective communication channels that could carry specific signals while filtering out environmental noise. Modern experiments with replica systems have confirmed that these acoustic effects can indeed be achieved using the materials and configurations found at ancient sites. However, the calculations required to design such systems would demand understanding of physics and mathematics that supposedly did not exist when the monuments were built. The builders would need to comprehend concepts of wavelength, frequency, and resonance that modern science has formalized only within the past few centuries. The global distribution of these acoustic engineering techniques suggests either widespread contact between ancient civilizations or inheritance from a common technological tradition. In China, the Temple of Heaven in Beijing incorporates acoustic features that allow conversations held at one end of a circular wall to be heard perfectly at the opposite end, despite the speakers being separated by hundreds of feet. Similar whispering galleries appear in ancient structures across Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas, all demonstrating identical understanding of how curved surfaces can focus and redirect sound waves. The preservation of these acoustic properties over thousands of years indicates construction techniques of remarkable durability and precision. Stone structures that have survived earthquakes, weathering, and human interference continue to exhibit the same sound-focusing effects they possessed when originally built. The builders achieved this permanence using materials and methods that modern engineers struggle to replicate, creating monuments that seem to improve with age rather than deteriorating over time. The electromagnetic and acoustic properties of megalithic sites suggest they were designed as functional instruments rather than mere ceremonial monuments. The combination of piezoelectric stones, precise geometric arrangements, and acoustic engineering creates systems capable of generating, focusing, and transmitting various forms of energy. Whether ancient peoples understood these effects in scientific terms or experienced them as supernatural phenomena, the consistent application of the same principles across multiple continents implies systematic knowledge rather than accidental discovery. Recent research into the biological effects of these energy systems has revealed intriguing correlations with human physiology and consciousness. Electromagnetic fields generated by megalithic sites often pulse at frequencies that correspond to human brainwave patterns, particularly those associated with meditative states and altered consciousness. People spending extended periods near these monuments frequently report experiences of enhanced intuition, vivid dreams, and heightened awareness that suggest the sites may have been designed to influence human perception and mental states. The therapeutic properties of certain megalithic sites have been documented through centuries of folk tradition and are now being investigated by modern medical researchers. At Lourdes in France, the grotto where healing miracles allegedly occur sits beneath a limestone formation rich in piezoelectric minerals. The combination of underground water flow and mineral composition creates electromagnetic conditions that may indeed have beneficial effects on human health, though the mechanisms remain poorly understood by conventional medicine. Similar healing traditions surround megalithic sites across the globe, from the stone circles of Scotland to the dolmens of Korea. Each culture has preserved knowledge of specific sites that possess therapeutic properties, often attributing these effects to supernatural forces or divine intervention. Modern scientific investigation suggests more mundane explanations involving bioelectromagnetic effects. But the consistency of the healing reports across unrelated cultures implies genuine physiological responses rather than mere placebo effects. The builders of these sites may have possessed sophisticated understanding of how environmental energies affect human health and consciousness. The precise placement of monuments at locations with optimal electromagnetic properties suggests deliberate selection based on criteria that modern science is only beginning to appreciate. Ancient peoples may have developed systematic knowledge of what we now call bioelectromagnetics, using this understanding to create healing centers and consciousness-altering environments that serve their communities for thousands of years. The implications extend beyond individual sites to encompass entire sacred landscapes designed according to unified principles of energy management and human enhancement. In India, the placement of ancient temples follows patterns that mirror acupuncture meridians mapped onto the geographic landscape. Each temple sits at a point where terrestrial energies converge, creating a network of sacred sites that collectively influence the energetic environment of entire regions. The same principle appears in other cultures under different names and interpretations. The feng shui traditions of China identify dragon lines and energy vortices that determine optimal locations for important buildings and monuments. Aboriginal Australians speak of song lines that connect sacred sites across vast distances, creating pathways of power that span the entire continent. Celtic traditions describe ley lines that link stone circles and holy wells into networks of terrestrial energy that ancient peoples navigated like invisible highways. Modern attempts to map these energy networks using scientific instruments have yielded mixed results, with some researchers detecting measurable electromagnetic anomalies along traditional sacred routes, while others find no evidence of unusual phenomena. The inconsistency may reflect limitations in current measurement techniques rather than absence of the energies themselves. Ancient peoples possessed sensory capabilities and knowledge systems that may have enabled them to perceive subtle environmental factors that escape modern detection methods. The degradation of these sensing abilities in modern humans could explain why we struggle to understand the principles that guided megalithic construction. Our ancestors may have possessed heightened sensitivity to magnetic fields, electromagnetic radiation, and other environmental energies that influenced their perception of optimal locations for ceremonial and healing sites. The systematic application of these criteria across multiple continents suggests not primitive superstition, but sophisticated biotechnology, based on principles we have forgotten rather than never possessed. The rediscovery of these ancient energy systems offers possibilities for enhancing human health and consciousness that deserve serious scientific investigation. If megalithic sites were indeed designed as instruments for influencing human physiology and mental states, then studying their construction principles might yield insights applicable to modern architecture, urban planning, and therapeutic environments. The builders embedded knowledge into stone that continues to function after millennia, creating monuments that serve as both historical records and functioning technologies, waiting for us to understand their operation. The precision required to achieve these effects across vast networks of interconnected sites implies coordination and communication capabilities that challenge our assumptions about ancient civilizations. The builders would need standardized measurement systems, unified construction techniques, and methods for sharing complex technical knowledge across continents and centuries. Such coordination suggests not isolated tribal societies, but sophisticated civilizations with global reach and advanced organizational capabilities. The evidence accumulates like sediment in a geological formation, layer upon layer of anomalies that refuse to fit into conventional historical frameworks. Each new discovery forces us to expand our understanding of what ancient peoples could accomplish, pushing back the boundaries of supposed human limitations and revealing capabilities that seem impossible for their attributed time periods. The megalithic builders possessed knowledge that we are only beginning to recover, technologies that we struggle to understand, and organizational abilities that enabled them to coordinate construction projects on scales that dwarf modern international collaborations. The questions multiply with each investigation, each answer revealing new mysteries that probe deeper into the foundations of human civilization. What other knowledge systems did these ancient peoples possess? What technologies did they develop that have left no trace in the archaeological record? How did they coordinate their efforts across such vast distances and time spans? And perhaps most importantly, what caused such sophisticated civilizations to vanish so completely that only their stone monuments remain to mark their passage through history? The answers may lie not in what we can see above ground, but in the hidden networks that extend deep into the earth itself. Modern technology continues to reveal the true scope of ancient construction, showing that the visible monuments represent merely the surface expressions of far more complex systems that penetrate into dimensions we have barely begun to explore. As we develop more sophisticated tools for investigating these buried mysteries, we may discover that our ancestors achieved capabilities that we can scarcely imagine, creating civilizations whose true accomplishments dwarf anything recorded in conventional history. The story carved in stone speaks of human potential that transcends the limitations we have imposed upon the past. Each megalithic site stands as testimony to achievements that challenge our understanding of what humans can accomplish when possessed of knowledge, tools, and organizational systems that operate according to principles we have yet to master. The builders left us more than monuments. They left us puzzles that continue to expand our conception of what civilization can become when it aligns itself with the deepest patterns of energy and consciousness that govern our world. The technological mastery revealed at these sites becomes even more profound when we examine their relationship to celestial mechanics and earth sciences that supposedly remained undiscovered for millennia. At Nabta Playa in southern Egypt, stone circles arranged over 7,000 years ago track not merely the obvious solar and lunar cycles, but the subtle 18-year pattern of lunar standstills that requires generations of continuous observation to detect. The builders embedded into their arrangements knowledge of astronomical phenomena so complex that modern computers are needed to calculate the same relationships with comparable precision. The mathematical sophistication extends beyond simple astronomical alignment into realms of advanced geometry and physics that challenge every assumption about prehistoric capabilities. At Newgrange in Ireland, the passage tomb incorporates architectural features that create standing wave patterns during winter solstice sunrise, transforming the entire chamber into a resonant instrument that amplifies specific frequencies. The builders understood principles of wave mechanics that wouldn't be formalized until the development of modern acoustics. Yet they applied these concepts with precision that produces measurable effects 5,000 years after construction. Similar mathematical mastery appears encoded in the proportional relationships between megalithic structures across vast distances. The spacing between stone circles in Britain follows geometric progressions that mirror the harmonic ratios used in musical composition, creating landscape-scale symphonies written in stone rather than sound. These relationships extend across the English Channel into continental Europe, where megalithic monuments in Brittany and Germany continue the same mathematical themes with variations that suggest conscious artistic development rather than accidental repetition. The precision of these proportional systems requires surveying capabilities that rival modern satellite measurements. Creating harmonic relationships across hundreds of miles demands instruments capable of measuring distances with accuracies of less than 1%. Accounting for terrain variations and the curvature of the Earth. Yet the builders achieved this precision using techniques that have vanished as completely as the tools themselves. leaving only the results to puzzle modern investigators who struggle to replicate such accuracy even with advanced technology. The metallurgical evidence from these sites reveals another layer of sophisticated knowledge that predates conventional timelines for technological development. At dolmens throughout Western Europe, archaeologists have discovered metal artifacts with compositions that require advanced alloying techniques to achieve. Bronze implements found at supposedly Stone Age sites contain precise percentages of tin, copper, and trace elements that create alloys superior to standard bronze in hardness and corrosion resistance. The consistency of these compositions across sites separated by hundreds of miles suggests standardized production methods and quality control systems that operated according to unified technical specifications. Even more intriguing are traces of metallurgical techniques that seem to transcend the capabilities attributed to ancient civilizations. Microscopic analysis of tool marks on megalithic stones reveals cutting patterns consistent with high-speed rotary implements. Yet the metal tools that could have created such marks are nowhere to be found in the archaeological record. The builders somehow achieved material removal rates and surface finishes that modern stone cutting requires diamond-tipped tools to replicate, using methods that left no trace of their existence. The absence of manufacturing debris presents one of the most puzzling aspects of megalithic construction. Sites that would have required thousands of metal tools for their completion show no evidence of forges, slag heaps, or the massive fuel consumption that ancient metallurgy demanded. Either the builders possessed smelting and fabrication techniques that operated with impossible efficiency, or they employed methods of working stone that did not require conventional metal tools at all. Neither explanation fits comfortably within established models of technological development, yet the evidence demands acknowledgement of capabilities that remain mysterious. Ancient texts from various cultures preserve tantalizing hints about these lost technologies, describing methods of stone manipulation that sound fantastical to modern readers, but may encode memories of actual techniques. Sanskrit manuscripts speak of tools that could make stone soft as clay, allowing massive blocks to be shaped by hand before hardening again into their final forms. Egyptian papyri describe the use of sound and vibration to move heavy objects, techniques that supposedly belong to the gods but may preserve knowledge of acoustic levitation or sonic cutting methods. These accounts appear across cultures that had no documented contact with each other, suggesting either parallel development of similar technologies or inheritance from a common source of advanced knowledge. The consistency of certain details across unrelated traditions implies that these descriptions may not be mythological inventions, but garbled recollections of actual techniques that once enabled the construction of megalithic monuments, with capabilities we cannot explain using conventional archaeological models. Modern experiments with acoustic stone cutting have yielded promising results that lend credibility to these ancient accounts. Ultrasonic frequencies can indeed fracture granite along predetermined lines, creating clean cuts without the heat and tool wear associated with conventional methods. The technique requires sophisticated understanding of crystalline structures and resonant frequencies, knowledge that ancient builders may have possessed in forms we have yet to recognize or reconstruct. The tool marks found at megalithic sites often show characteristics consistent with ultrasonic cutting, though proving such techniques were actually used remains beyond current investigative capabilities. The electromagnetic properties of many megalithic sites suggest another possible approach to advanced stoneworking that operates according to principles of physics we are only beginning to understand. High-intensity electromagnetic fields can indeed affect the molecular structure of certain minerals, potentially making them more malleable or easier to cut. Ancient builders working at sites with strong natural electromagnetic signatures may have developed techniques that harnessed these forces for construction purposes, achieving results that seem impossible using purely mechanical approaches. The energy requirements for such electromagnetic stoneworking would be substantial, demanding power sources that could generate and focus intense fields with precision. Yet many megalithic sites exhibit natural conditions that could potentially supply such energy through geological processes we barely comprehend. The intersection of underground water flow, tectonic stress, and mineral compositions rich in piezoelectric materials creates environmental conditions capable of generating significant electrical phenomena. Ancient builders may have learned to harness and direct these natural forces for construction purposes, developing technologies that left no archaeological trace because they were based on environmental energies rather than manufactured tools. The therapeutic traditions associated with megalithic sites take on new significance when viewed through the lens of bioelectromagnetic effects that modern medicine is beginning to investigate. The electromagnetic signatures detected at these locations often correspond to frequencies known to influence cellular regeneration, pain relief, and neurological function. Ancient peoples may have possessed systematic knowledge of how environmental energies affect human physiology, using this understanding to create healing centers that operated according to principles of electromagnetic medicine. Recent research into the biological effects of extremely low-frequency electromagnetic fields has revealed that certain frequencies can indeed stimulate bone growth, accelerate wound healing, and influence brain chemistry in ways that could explain the therapeutic reputations of megalithic sites. The builders may have deliberately selected locations and designed structures that would generate optimal bioelectromagnetic environments for promoting health and healing. Such knowledge would represent a sophisticated understanding of the relationship between environmental energies and human biology that integrated architecture, medicine, and physics into unified healing systems. The consciousness-altering effects reported at many megalithic sites may result from similar bioelectromagnetic influences on neural activity. Electromagnetic fields pulsing at specific frequencies can indeed synchronize brainwave patterns, potentially inducing meditative states or enhanced awareness that ancient peoples might have interpreted as contact with divine forces. The builders could have designed these sites as consciousness enhancement technologies that operated by influencing the electromagnetic environment of the human nervous system. The precision required to achieve such neurological effects would demand detailed understanding of human brain chemistry and the electromagnetic frequencies that influence various mental states. Ancient builders would need knowledge of neuroscience that supposedly developed only in recent centuries, yet the consistent reports of consciousness-altering experiences at megalithic sites across multiple cultures suggest systematic application of techniques that could reliably produce specific psychological effects. Whether they understood these phenomena in scientific terms or experienced them as spiritual technologies, the builders seem to have possessed practical knowledge of how environmental factors influence human consciousness. The social implications of such technologies would be profound. Civilizations capable of constructing consciousness enhancement centers and healing facilities using advanced electromagnetic principles would possess capabilities that could support complex societies operating according to principles very different from our own. The coordination required to build networks of such facilities across vast territories would demand organizational systems based on sophisticated understanding of human psychology, environmental energies, and the relationship between individual consciousness and collective social function. The sudden disappearance of these technologies from the archaeological record suggests that the knowledge systems supporting them were more fragile than the monuments themselves. While the stone structures survived millennia of weathering and geological change, the understanding of how to operate and maintain them seems to have vanished much more quickly. This pattern implies that megalithic technologies may have depended on educational traditions or cultural knowledge that could not survive the social disruptions that periodically affected ancient civilizations. The cyclical nature of technological development suggested by the megalithic evidence challenges linear models of human progress that assume steady advancement from primitive to sophisticated capabilities. Instead, the pattern seems to involve periodic peaks of achievement followed by collapse and partial recovery, with each cycle building upon fragments salvaged from earlier accomplishments. The megalithic monuments may represent the high watermarks of such cycles, moments when human societies achieved capabilities that were subsequently lost and only partially rediscovered by later civilizations. This cyclical interpretation gains support from geological evidence for periodic catastrophes, capable of disrupting civilizations and forcing survivors to rebuild from scattered remnants. Climate records reveal sudden shifts that could transform fertile regions into wastelands within decades, while impact craters and unusual mineral deposits suggest cosmic collisions that would have triggered global environmental collapse. Societies possessing advanced technologies would be particularly vulnerable to such disruptions, as their complex knowledge systems would be harder to preserve during periods of social chaos than simpler survival techniques. The builders of megalithic monuments may have understood this vulnerability and deliberately designed their structures to preserve essential knowledge through whatever catastrophes might come. The astronomical alignments encode calendrical information, the geometric relationships preserve mathematical principles, and the electromagnetic properties demonstrate advanced understanding of energy manipulation. These features combine to create comprehensive libraries of scientific knowledge embedded in materials designed to survive the collapse of the civilizations that created them. The durability of stone as an information storage medium becomes particularly significant when viewed against the fragility of other knowledge preservation systems. Written records decay, oral traditions fade with time, and even metal artifacts corrode beyond recognition. But properly constructed stone monuments can preserve information for tens of thousands of years, maintaining their encoded messages through ice ages, floods, and the rise and fall of multiple civilizations. The builders may have chosen stone not merely for its strength, but for its capacity to serve as permanent memory banks for future societies struggling to rediscover lost wisdom. The mathematical relationships embedded in megalithic structures suggest that their builders possessed number systems and geometric concepts far more sophisticated than the simple counting and basic shapes conventionally attributed to prehistoric peoples. The geometric forms that appear repeatedly at sites worldwide encode advanced mathematical constants and proportional relationships that modern science has formalized only within recent centuries. The builders understood concepts of infinity, irrational numbers, and complex geometric transformations that they expressed through architectural proportions, with precision that rivals modern mathematical calculations. The astronomical knowledge preserved in stone alignments demonstrates understanding of celestial mechanics that extends far beyond simple seasonal observation into realms of advanced computational astronomy. Tracking precessional cycles requires mathematical models capable of predicting stellar positions across thousands of years, while the complex orbital relationships encoded at some sites demand understanding of gravitational mechanics and planetary motion that supposedly developed much later in human history. The builders possessed not merely observational skills, but theoretical frameworks for understanding cosmic mechanics that enabled them to create permanent records of astronomical knowledge. The acoustic engineering evident at many megalithic sites reveals systematic understanding of wave mechanics, harmonic resonance, and the relationship between architectural form and sound propagation. The builders could calculate the dimensions necessary to produce specific acoustic effects, design chambers that would amplify certain frequencies while suppressing others, and create sound-focusing systems that could transmit communications across considerable distances. Such acoustic engineering requires mathematical modeling of wave behavior and material properties that supposedly belong to much later periods of scientific development. The electromagnetic properties of megalithic sites suggest knowledge of electrical phenomena and magnetic field interactions that conventional history places in the modern era. The builders selected materials and locations that would generate optimal electromagnetic environments, arranged stones according to geometric patterns that influenced energy flow, and created structures that continue to exhibit measurable electromagnetic effects thousands of years after construction. Such systematic application of electromagnetic principles implies theoretical understanding of electrical phenomena that predates conventional timelines for the development of such knowledge by millennia. The integration of these diverse knowledge systems into unified construction projects reveals intellectual capabilities that challenge every assumption about the limitations of prehistoric human societies. The builders possessed not merely isolated technical skills, but comprehensive scientific understanding that encompassed mathematics, astronomy, acoustics, electromagnetics, and material science. They applied this knowledge through construction techniques that achieve precision exceeding modern capabilities, while creating monuments designed to preserve their wisdom for future civilizations. The organizational requirements for coordinating such knowledge across the global network of megalithic sites would demand communication systems and educational institutions capable of maintaining technical standards across vast distances and long time periods. The builders would need methods for training craftsmen, preserving complex information, and ensuring quality control that operated according to principles we can barely imagine given the supposed limitations of prehistoric societies. Yet the consistency of techniques and knowledge across widely separated sites proves that such coordination was not merely possible but actually achieved. The legacy of these ancient achievements continues to unfold as modern technology reveals new dimensions of megalithic sophistication with each investigation. Ground-penetrating radar exposes hidden chambers and underground networks that dwarf the visible monuments, while electromagnetic surveys map energy patterns that extend far beyond individual sites into continental-scale systems. Acoustic analysis reveals sound transmission capabilities that create communication networks spanning entire regions, while material science uncovers construction techniques that produced results we struggle to replicate using advanced modern equipment. Each discovery forces us to expand our conception of what ancient civilizations could accomplish, pushing back the boundaries of supposed human limitations and revealing capabilities that seem impossible for their attributed time periods. The megalithic builders possessed knowledge systems that we are only beginning to recover, technologies that we struggle to understand, and organizational abilities that enabled them to create monuments whose true sophistication continues to emerge thousands of years after their construction. The implications extend far beyond archaeology into questions about the nature of human potential itself. If our ancestors could achieve such remarkable feats using knowledge systems we have forgotten, what other capabilities might humans possess when operating according to principles we have yet to rediscover? The megalithic monuments stand as proof that human consciousness can accomplish far more than our current understanding suggests, creating technologies that transcend the limitations we have assumed define the boundaries of possibility. The builders left us more than impressive stone structures. They left us challenges to our assumptions about human history, human capability, and human potential. Their monuments continue to teach us that the past holds secrets we have barely begun to unlock, knowledge that could transform our understanding of what civilizations can achieve when they align themselves with the deepest principles governing energy, consciousness, and the relationship between human society and the natural world. The questions they pose grow more profound with each answer we uncover. What other knowledge did these ancient peoples possess? What technologies did they develop that have left no conventional archaeological trace? How did they organize societies capable of coordinating construction projects that span continents and centuries? And perhaps most importantly, what can their achievements teach us about possibilities that await rediscovery in our own time? The stone monuments endure, silent witnesses to capabilities that challenge everything we think we know about the development of human civilization. They wait with the patience of geological time for us to develop tools sophisticated enough to read the messages they preserve, knowledge systems advanced enough to understand the principles they demonstrate, and wisdom sufficient to recognize that our ancestors may have achieved mastery over forces that we are only beginning to perceive. In their precision, we glimpse the outlines of lost sciences. In their global coordination, we see evidence of organizational capabilities that transcend our current models of prehistoric society. In their electromagnetic and acoustic properties, we discover technologies that operated according to principles we struggle to comprehend. And in their enduring mystery, we find inspiration to continue questioning the assumptions that limit our understanding of human potential and the true scope of what our species has accomplished across the vast reaches of time. The silence that surrounds these technological achievements becomes even more haunting when we consider what should be the trial runs, the failed experiments, the grad accompany such monumental undertakings. Where dual refinements that mark the development of any complex technology? At sites across the globe, megalithic construction appears fully formed, as if emerging from nowhere with capabilities already perfected. There are no primitive predecessors, no evolutionary chain of increasingly sophisticated attempts. The technology simply manifests, operates at peak efficiency for a period, then vanishes as completely as it appeared. This pattern defies every principle of technological development we understand. Modern engineering advances through iteration, each generation building upon the lessons learned from previous attempts. Yet megalithic construction shows no such progression. The earliest examples are often the most sophisticated, displaying technical mastery that later attempts struggle to replicate. At Göbekli Tepe, the oldest enclosures exhibit the finest carving and most complex architectural features, while later additions show declining skill and ambition. The pattern suggests not development, but decay, as if inheritors of the original knowledge gradually lost their understanding of the principles involved. The same phenomenon appears at other sites where chronological sequences can be established. At Easter Island, the most precisely carved moai belong to the earliest construction phases, while later statues become increasingly crude and unfinished. The builders seem to possess complete mastery at the beginning of their work, then gradually lost their capabilities as time progressed. This reversal of expected technological development implies that the knowledge was inherited rather than invented, passed down from earlier sources whose own origins remain shrouded in mystery. The tools and techniques that could have produced such precision have left virtually no archaeological trace, creating one of the most perplexing aspects of megalithic studies. Conventional stoneworking requires massive quantities of chisels, hammers, and cutting implements that would need constant replacement due to wear and breakage. Yet excavations at megalithic sites rarely yield tool inventories commensurate with the scale of construction involved. The implements that do appear seem inadequate for the precision achieved, leading to ongoing debates about what technologies were actually employed. Some researchers have proposed that the missing tools were made from organic materials that have since decayed beyond recognition. Others suggest that metal implements were systematically recycled, leaving no trace in the archaeological record. But neither explanation accounts for the complete absence of the massive industrial infrastructure that such construction projects would require. Where are the quarries that should show extraction patterns matching the finished stones? Where are the workshops that would have been needed to shape millions of precisely fitted blocks? The scale of material processing involved in megalithic construction staggers the imagination when calculated across entire sites. At Sacsayhuaman in Peru, over 200,000 tons of stone were cut, transported, and fitted with tolerances measured in fractions of millimeters. The labor requirements for such precision using conventional methods would have demanded armies of skilled craftsmen working for decades under perfect coordination. Yet the site shows no evidence of the massive support infrastructure such operations would require: no housing for workers, no waste disposal systems, no food production facilities adequate to sustain such populations. the transportation of materials presents equally inexplicable logistical challenges. Many megalithic sites incorporate stones quarried hundreds of miles from their final positions, moved across difficult terrain that would challenge modern heavy transport equipment. The famous bluestones of Stonehenge were somehow conveyed from Wales across rivers, hills, and marshlands using methods that remain completely mysterious. Experimental attempts to recreate these journeys using period-appropriate tools have failed spectacularly, requiring teams of hundreds to move even small replicas over short distances under ideal conditions. Recent discoveries have revealed that the transportation challenges were even greater than previously imagined. At Baalbek in Lebanon, foundation stones weighing over 1,000 tons were quarried several miles from their final positions and transported across uneven terrain that includes steep grades and unstable soil conditions. Modern crane technology can barely handle such masses under controlled conditions, yet ancient builders somehow moved them with precision that required exact placement on the first attempt. The logistics of such operations would demand engineering capabilities that exceed current heavy construction techniques. The precision of stone fitting found at megalithic sites worldwide represents perhaps the most technically challenging aspect of these ancient achievements. Joints between massive blocks often measure less than half a millimeter, with contact surfaces that conform to complex three-dimensional curves. Creating such fits requires measurement and cutting accuracies that modern stone working achieves only through computer-controlled machinery and diamond-tipped tools. The builders accomplished the same results using techniques that remain completely mysterious, leaving surfaces that modern stonemasons admit they cannot duplicate. The mathematical complexity underlying these precise fits becomes apparent when engineers attempt to analyze the geometric relationships involved. Each stone in a polygonal wall must be cut to match its neighbors along multiple contact surfaces simultaneously, requiring three-dimensional calculations that would challenge modern computer modeling systems. The builders somehow performed these calculations and executed the resulting cuts with tolerances that allow no margin for error. A single miscalculation would result in blocks that could not fit together, yet the walls show no evidence of trial and error or corrective modifications. The surface finishes achieved on megalithic stones reveal another dimension of technical mastery that defies conventional explanation. Many blocks exhibit optical flatness across their contact faces, with surface variations measured in thousandths of inches. Achieving such precision requires finishing techniques that modern industry accomplishes only through grinding and polishing operations using specialized abrasives and controlled environments. Yet megalithic stones show these same surface qualities apparently produced through methods that left no trace of the equipment or techniques involved. The acoustic properties discovered at megalithic sites suggest that their builders possessed sophisticated understanding of wave mechanics and architectural acoustics that supposedly developed much later in human history. Chambers designed to amplify specific frequencies demonstrate knowledge of resonance, standing wave patterns, and the relationship between architectural form and sound propagation. The precision required to achieve these acoustic effects demands mathematical understanding of wave behavior that modern acoustical engineering has formalized only within recent centuries. At the Hypogeum in Malta, underground chambers carved from solid limestone create acoustic environments that modern sound engineers struggle to explain. Spoken words in certain locations are transmitted to distant chambers with perfect clarity, while other frequencies are completely absorbed or filtered. The builders created what amounts to a prehistoric sound system that operates according to principles of selective frequency transmission and acoustic isolation. The mathematical calculations required to design such systems would challenge modern acoustical consultants equipped with computer modeling and sophisticated measurement equipment. Similar acoustic engineering appears at megalithic sites across continents, suggesting either widespread contact between ancient civilizations or inheritance from common technological traditions. In Peru, underground galleries at Chavandahuantar channel and manipulate sound waves to create effects that seem supernatural to the uninitiated. In Ireland, the Passage Tomb at Newgrange transforms winter solstice sunrise into acoustic phenomena that resonate throughout the chamber structure. The consistency of these acoustic achievements across cultures separated by vast distances implies systematic knowledge rather than accidental discovery. The electromagnetic properties of megalithic structures add yet another layer of mysterious sophistication to ancient construction techniques. Many sites exhibit measurable electromagnetic signatures that fluctuate according to astronomical cycles, with peak activity occurring during celestial events that were clearly significant to the builders. The stones themselves often contain high concentrations of quartz and other piezoelectric minerals that generate electrical charges in response to mechanical stress, creating environments where natural forces produce measurable electromagnetic phenomena. The placement of megalithic monuments often corresponds precisely to locations where geological conditions optimize these electromagnetic effects. Underground water flow, tectonic stress, and mineral compositions combine to create natural electrical generation that the stone structures seem designed to harness and amplify. Whether ancient builders understood these phenomena in scientific terms or experienced them as supernatural forces, their systematic selection of optimal locations demonstrates awareness of environmental energies that modern science has only recently begun to investigate. The global distribution of these electromagnetic sites suggests coordination that would require communication networks spanning continents and time periods. Megalithic builders somehow identified locations with optimal electromagnetic properties across vast geographic regions, then constructed monuments that interact with these natural forces according to unified principles. The organizational capabilities required for such coordination would demand technological and social systems operating on scales that challenge conventional understanding of prehistoric civilizations. Modern measurement techniques continue to reveal new dimensions of electromagnetic activity at megalithic sites, with some locations exhibiting energy signatures that correlate with human physiological responses. Electromagnetic fields pulsing at frequencies known to influence brain activity, cellular regeneration, and neurological function may explain the therapeutic reputations that many of these sites have maintained throughout recorded history. Ancient builders may have possessed systematic knowledge of bioelectromagnetic effects that enabled them to create healing environments using architectural techniques that remain mysterious today. The consciousness-altering experiences reported by visitors to megalithic sites may result from similar bioelectromagnetic influences on human neural activity. Specific electromagnetic frequencies can indeed synchronize brainwave patterns and induce altered states of awareness that ancient peoples might have interpreted as contact with divine forces or enhanced spiritual perception. The builders could have designed these monuments as consciousness enhancement technologies that operated by manipulating the electromagnetic environment of the human nervous system through architectural features that continue to function thousands of years after their creation. The durability of megalithic construction represents another technological achievement that modern engineering struggles to match. Many sites have survived thousands of years of earthquakes, weathering, and geological change while maintaining structural integrity that exceeds modern construction standards. The builders achieved this permanence using techniques that created structures which actually strengthen over time rather than deteriorating, as if the stones themselves improve with age through processes we barely understand. The anti-seismic properties of megalithic architecture demonstrate engineering knowledge that modern earthquake-resistant design has developed only through centuries of trial and costly failure. Polygonal walls in Peru remain stable through seismic events that destroy modern buildings, their irregular joints distributing stress in ways that conventional engineering struggles to analyze or replicate. The builders understood principles of structural dynamics that enabled them to create earthquake-proof architecture using nothing but precisely fitted stones and gravitational forces. The longevity of these structures suggests construction methods that transcended mere mechanical assembly to create integrated systems that interact with natural forces in self-maintaining ways. Megalithic monuments seem designed to work with rather than against environmental pressures, channeling wind, water, and seismic energy through architectural features that actually strengthen the structures over time. Modern buildings require constant maintenance to prevent deterioration, yet megalithic construction appears to have achieved permanent stability through techniques that remain completely mysterious. The preservation of surface finishes on megalithic stones reveals another aspect of ancient technical mastery that challenges modern understanding. Exposed surfaces that should have weathered to rough textures over millennia often retain the smooth finishes applied by their original builders. The techniques used to achieve these durable surfaces apparently created protective qualities that continue to function thousands of years after application, suggesting knowledge of material science that goes far beyond conventional stoneworking methods. The chemical composition of some megalithic surfaces shows trace elements and molecular structures that cannot be explained through known geological processes or conventional construction techniques. Analysis of the limestone facing on the Great Pyramid reveals microscopic features that resemble synthetic rather than natural stone formation, as if the builders possessed methods for modifying mineral structures at the molecular level. Similar anomalies appear at other sites worldwide, suggesting systematic application of material science that operated according to principles we have yet to understand. The integration of all these technological capabilities into unified construction projects reveals intellectual achievements that transcend the boundaries of individual technical skills. Megalithic builders possessed comprehensive understanding that encompassed advanced mathematics, sophisticated engineering, precise materials, science, and systematic knowledge of electromagnetic and acoustic phenomena. They coordinated these diverse capabilities through organizational systems that enabled them to complete projects requiring precision that modern technology struggles to match, while creating monuments designed to function as integrated systems across multiple dimensions of energy and information. The sudden disappearance of these capabilities from human civilization represents one of history's greatest technological catastrophes. Knowledge systems that had enabled the construction of monuments rivaling modern engineering achievements vanished so completely that later civilizations could barely comprehend what their predecessors had accomplished. The loss suggests not gradual decline, but sudden disruption that severed the educational and cultural traditions necessary to maintain such sophisticated technical understanding. The cyclical pattern of technological rise and fall implied by megalithic evidence challenges linear models of human progress that assume steady advancement from primitive to sophisticated capabilities. Instead, the archaeological record suggests repeated cycles of achievement and collapse, with each period of advancement building upon fragments salvaged from earlier accomplishments before succumbing to catastrophes that force survivors to begin again from scattered remnants of former glory. The builders of megalithic monuments may have understood this cyclical vulnerability and deliberately designed their structures to preserve essential knowledge through whatever disasters might come. The mathematical relationships embedded in stone encode computational principles. The astronomical alignments preserve calendrical systems, and the electromagnetic properties demonstrate advanced understanding of energy manipulation. These features combine to create permanent libraries of technical knowledge embedded in materials, chosen specifically for their capacity to survive the collapse of entire civilizations. The messages encoded in megalithic architecture continue to reveal new layers of information as our analytical capabilities advance. Each improvement in measurement precision, each new investigative technique, each breakthrough in understanding natural phenomena unveils additional dimensions of ancient knowledge that had remained hidden for millennia. The builders created monuments that serve as progressive teaching systems, revealing more sophisticated information as future civilizations develop the technical capabilities necessary to decode increasingly complex layers of meaning. Perhaps the most profound revelation is not that our ancestors built these impossible monuments, but that they built them for us. Every alignment, every mathematical relationship, every electromagnetic signature was designed to survive the collapse of worlds, waiting for a future civilization sophisticated enough to read the messages carved in stone. We are that civilization now, standing at the threshold of rediscovering technologies that could revolutionize our understanding of human potential itself. The megaliths whisper their secrets to those willing to listen, challenging us to question everything we thought we knew about the past and embrace the extraordinary possibilities that may await our species when we finally learn to read the language of stone.